بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا تجعل الحزن والصعب إذا ما شئت سهلا اللهم آمين. We will be starting inshallah our bi-weekly halaqa of Tafseer al-Quran, and the reason for doing this was primarily when I was asked to have a halaqa that would be educational for all family members to talk about the important issues of our deen. And I thought that there is nothing more important for us to be aware of or understand than the Quran. And throughout the tafsir of the Quran, we will be coming across many important issues of aqidah and ibadah and akhlaq and muamalat. Those are all important issues that we need to be mindful and aware of and about, and we can do them inshallah through the tafsir of the Quran. And one of the most important surahs that we need to be mindful and aware of are the short surahs of the Quran. So we will start inshallah today with the most important surah of the whole Quran, which is Al-Fatiha. This is the surah that we recite in our daily salah, minimum 17 times a day when we pray our fard. So if we are not aware and mindful of what we are reciting, then eventually we are not getting the benefit and the fruits of what we are reciting. The whole idea of reciting the Quran, as Allah Azza wa Jalla said, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, shall they not reflect and contemplate on the Quran? So this is, alhamdulillah, inshallah, will be an attempt for us to be mindful and aware and to understand and comprehend, though that Arabic might not be our first language. This is not I don't think it's a big issue, as long as we are able to understand the content of what we are learning in the Quran. And let me tell you that even with Arabic speaking people, understanding and comprehending Quran requires from them to dig deep in the verses of the Quran and be more familiar with the classic language of the Quran, and try to understand how to apply these verses practically in their life. So when we start reading the Quran, the first thing we start with is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. And this is what we start with our Quran recitation. So let's take that word by word, unpack it, and try to understand what it means, so that when we say it, we are not only saying words, or we're not just repeating things without understanding and comprehending. So what does أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم means? أعوذ literally means I seek refuge. So أعوذ بالله, by Allah, from shaitan, Satan, al-rajim, the stoned or remoted. And we sometimes أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. There are different ways to say it. I seek refuge by Allah, as-Sami', the one who hears, Alim, the one who knows, from the evil temptations of shaitan. Why is it important to say that? What's the significance of saying that? Why do we need to say it as we're about to read the Quran? We need to be mindful and reminded always about an important fact that most of the time we're led to forget, which is in our life as a human in general, because human, believe it or not, this is something that sometimes we forget, are all brothers and sisters. We're all brothers and sisters in humanity. Our origin comes from one father and from one mother, Adam and Eve alayhi salam. And they are the origin of all the population you see on earth. And there is no enemy despite of the fact that we're divided among ourselves in this life, there are no enemies for us as human except one enemy, which is shaitan. And this is, clearly illustrated to us in many places in the Quran. وقلنا يا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين فدلاهما بغرور. As Allah Azza mentioned in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah said, فدلاهما بغرور. Allah has mentioned to us the evil, plans and temptations of shaitan. And so we are in advance, we're told about who is our enemy and what are his actions and plans and how he is going to be interrupting our life and what are his goals and objectives. Shaitan, by the way, does not have to worry about earning living. He does not have any other interests in his life except for one interest. قال رب أنظرني إلى يوم يبعثون قال إنك من المنظرين. He asked Allah Azza wa Jal to give him the chance to stay until the day اليوم المعلوم, and Allah Azza wa Jal granted that for him. قال فبعزتك لأغوينهم أجمعين. He vowed by Allah Azza wa Jal that he is going to drift and temptate all the children of Adam. إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين, except for your devoted and ibad, ya Allah. So this is now clearly presented to us in the Quran. So we know that there is one of the creations of Allah Azza wa Jal, who is from al-jinn, by the way, though he was, because of his ibadah, close to the status of the malaika, but as a result of his arrogance and disobedience to Allah Azza wa Jal, was kicked from the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal. In the story that we are all familiar with, mentioned in the Quran also in different locations, in Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-A'raf, how Allah Azza wa Jal created Adam and taught him al-asma, and that made the malaika do sujood for Adam, and that made shaitan furious. Why they were making sujood for Adam alayhi salam, and at the same time he did not obey and listen to the commands of Allah Azza wa Jal, as Allah clearly mentioned in the Quran, ما منعك أن تسجد لما أمرتك. Why you did not bow or make sujood when I made a clear order to you to do so. And then eventually his response, أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. I am better than him. I am created from fire, he is created from clay, which make no difference. Clay and fire are two substances of this life, and they are, in their materialistic value, has no no value whatsoever. So this is what we are, what we need to be mindful and aware of. Allah Azza wa Jal said to ask the malaika to make sujood to Adam alayhi salam. He honored Adam. Now, two things come here. Was the sujood the malaika made a sujood of ibadah to Adam alayhi salam? No, it was not a sujood of ibadah, rather a sujood of honor to Adam alayhi salam. Now, another important thing that we need to be mindful about, and this is what we most of the time like to understand. We have a belief and understanding that malaika are superior. They are ibadun nuraniyin, they're created from nur. They just don't disobey Allah Azza wa Jal, and they're the soldiers of Allah. So we look at them as, when we want to praise someone, we say he's an angel or she's an angel. Though the value of the mu'min could be sometimes, if you were to be devoted in your ibadah and close to Allah Azza wa Jal, higher than the status of the malaika. And that's clearly in the Quran, and that's why Allah Azza wa Jal asked the malaika to make sujood to Adam alayhi salam. And also, it could be, as some of the Tafseer and the explanations came across this issue, is that these are the malaika who are assigned to be serving you as a human being. Because Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْكُمْ لَحَافِظِينَ كِرَامًا كَاتِبِينَ. There are assigned angels to each one of you. They're their mission in our life is to do two things: record and document everything we do, and we're able to understand better this this verse or this understanding, as nowadays technology is emerging where we have surveillance cameras and we're able to get recording for certain actions in the crime scenes and and accidents. They always go back to the surveillance cameras where they're able to get the recording, and this would be to document the incidents and actions. So this is what Allah Azza wa Jal have assigned the malaika for, to document everything we do in our life, so that when we meet Allah Azza wa Jal in the hereafter, we will be presented for what we have done in this dunya, good or bad, regardless, because we're ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد. Whatever you even utter in your mouth will be recorded to you. So the malaika, they will be doing that job for you. And the second job for the malaika who are assigned for the human is for protection, the hafidhin, to protect you. And we can see that clearly most of the time in our daily life activities, or even with our children. Sometimes you could see that your child was that close to come to a very dangerous situation, or you yourself, you probably were driving once on the highway or came across a dangerous situation, and you felt that it's only the rahmah of Allah that have saved you. That's true, because that's what it is. Some brothers are testifying to that.
On Eid, I'm a Christian vouch. On Eid, we're heading out from the mosque home, right? We're driving, and this car swings quickly and almost hits us. My father controlled the car. He saved us from the car. It was about to hit us. We were about to hit the wall on the highway, and we could have died that day.
So alhamdulillah, this is what the malaika are intervening to do. Also the malaika have different other jobs as Allah has said, بلى إن تصبروا وتتقوا هذا ويأتوكم من فوركم يمددكم ربكم ب5000 من الملائكة 3000 من الملائكة مردفين وإن تصبروا وتتقوا يأتوكم من فورهم هذا ويمددكم ربكم ب3000 من الملائكة ب5000 الملائكة مسومين. So malaika have different jobs, whether to support and aid the Muslims in the battleground, the mu'mineen, and when they're in the fight, or whether to give protection to individuals, or to provide to the rain, or to carry the provisions of Allah Azza wa Jal. Many other jobs that Allah Azza wa Jal have assigned to the malaika. And here gives you an idea that the malaika are creations of Allah Azza wa Jal. They are honored creations, but you in your ibadah as a mu'min can be superior in your status and your value to Allah Azza wa Jal. So this would give us an idea about what are we dealing with. Shaitan have vowed قال فبما أغويتني لأقعدن لهم صراطك المستقيم ثم لآتينهم من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم وعن شمائلهم ولا تجد أكثرهم شاكرين. Shaitan has clearly indicated and exposed his plans to us in advance, that he will be coming to us from our right, from our left, and from the front, and his attempt is to drift us from the right path. And he said, speculated, وَلَا تَجْدُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ شَاكِرِينَ, and you will not find many of them, Ya Allah, thankful to you, showing gratitude to you, staying on the right path. Now here comes a challenge. Now we know that Shaitan is jinn. كان من الجن ففسق عن أمر ربه فتتخذونه وذريته أولياء من دونه وهم لكم عدو بئس للظالمين بدلا. Now we know jinn has different abilities than a human. Human is created from clay. Our substance of a creation is heavy, and we shaped in physical appearance, which is the body that we have. However, shaitan, who is jinn, is created from fire, as we know, and then the way that Allah has created that, we don't have to get into the details, but jinn have different abilities. They are able to shape in different forms. They are lighter, created from lighter material than ourselves. So we are إنه يراكم هو وقبيله من حيث لا ترونهم. They can see us, as Allah explained to us in the Quran, without we are able to see them. So now we're dealing with an enemy who's full of hatred, who have no agenda in his life except to drift us from the right path, and who have no other interest in life, or no other things to worry about in life except for this particular goal, and he is very devoted. Unlike us, a human being, we are insan, is from nisyan, we all the time forget, and we drift from the right path. So he has no agenda except this, and what even makes things worse is he's unseen to us. He can see us, but we're unable to see. This should raise our alertness and make us worried. We should be worried, but at the same time, we should not be letting that our anxiety be provoked to high when we know that Allah Azza wa Jal have created jinn in general, including shaitan, and have created us as a human being. But at the same time, we are being advised on how to protect ourselves from the jinn, and how to protect ourselves in our life from the different plans and temptations of shaitan. The Prophet ﷺ told us that in the hadith that many of us know, when we go home, we say Bismillah, we walk with our right foot in, and we say Assalamu alaikum. When we do so, then shaitan will be saying to his followers, you are prevented from spending the night at the home. And then when the food is placed on the table for you to enjoy your dinner or lunch, and you say Bismillah, then shaitan will be saying, you are prevented from having food for today. And even when we are with our spouses and say Bismillah, shaitan will also be prevented from being involved with us. So we can see clearly that no matter how powerful shaitan abilities are, and no matter how tricky he could be, and this is in my own assessment at least, shayateen or jinn in general do not have any power except that the ability to fool. They are the masters of magic. They are the masters of fooling and distracting a human from their life. But their power is very weak contrast to the power of a human. And our own silah, our own weapon is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I seek refuge by Allah, the Mighty, السميع العليم, the one who hears and the one who knows, from the evil temptations of shaitan. This is it. No matter how powerful shaitan is, the evil attempt of shaitan will be aborted immediately. And that's why when you go to the washroom, which is the place where shaitan likes to spend and enjoy, and that's why we're discouraged from spending long time in the khala, in the washrooms, because this is where they enjoy their time. And when we walk in, we walk with our left foot, say Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith. Oh Allah, I seek refuge by you from the male and female of shaitan. Khubth and khaba'ith, even the words means filth, both male and female. So this would give you an idea that yes, indeed, shaitan is devout, shaitan is evil, shaitan has, does not give up, does not get tired, but at the same time, you as a human being, as a mu'min believer, you should be always in remembrance with Allah Azza wa Jal to defeat and abort all the attempts of shaitan in drifting you from the right path. And in no exception, we do the same when we are reading the Quran. And that's why, by the way, from the أدعية أذكار الصباح والمساء الله احفظني من بين يدي ومن خلفي وعن يميني وعن شمالي ومن فوقي وأعوذ بجلالك وعظمتك أن أغتال من تحتي. This is a dua that we're taught to pray to Allah Azza wa Jal in the morning and in the evening. Ya Allah, I seek your protection from ahead of me, بين يدي, and from behind me, from my right, from my left, from above me, and I seek refuge by you not to be taken from underneath me. Why from underneath me? Because this is where Shaitan's ability always comes. He's unable to come from other directions except from underneath. So this is why we're encouraged to say this dua in the morning and in the evening. And at the same time, we do have other ad'iyah that we say in the morning and in the evening. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. I seek refuge by the complete and perfect words of Allah Azza wa Jal from the evil of what He created. From شر ما خلق. And أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من كل شيطان وهامة ومن كل عين لامة. I seek refuge by the perfect words of Allah Azza wa Jal. من كل شيطان, from evil شيطان, ومن كل عين لامة. And we do also believe in the power of ayn, the evil eye. So when you say these du'as early in the morning and in the evening, which I strongly recommend for every parent to do so, you're providing protection for yourself and the most vulnerable individuals in your family, your children and your spouse. And this is, a serious responsibility of the two parents. It's not only the parents of the husband, nor only it's the responsibility of the wife. It's the responsibility of the two together, so that you are able to protect yourself and provide, the protection. The Prophet ﷺ said, also encouraged us to read Ayatul Kursi, because in one of the events, Jibreel came to him, informing him and alerting him about an attempt of an evil shaitan to come and harm the Prophet ﷺ, and Allah, through Jami'a Islam, informed him that read Ayatul Kursi. Ayatul Kursi is very powerful, ayah to give you protection, and that's why it's to be recited in the morning and in the evening for the protection. And at the same time, this is why we read Ayatul Kursi at the end of each salah. Whoever recites Ayatul Kursi at dubura kullu salah, at the end of each salah, nothing prevents him from going to Jannah except death, as we all know in this famous hadith. And one of the things also to give protection to us and our families, to our homes, is reading Surah Al-Baqarah at home, minimum every 3 days. Now, this could be a little challenging for certain people, though it is not. If you are, focused and you train yourself, once again, I do believe in the power and abilities of a human, and we're able to do almost everything if we set a plan and we train ourselves to do it. And for daily, protection, there's a hadith that that I have always promoted, and I came across lately, knowing that it might be a hadith da'if, but nevertheless, the value of this hadith is really, beautiful. Whoever recites 10 verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, لا يقربن الشيطان بيته, the shaitan would not, come close to your home. And from the morning until the evening. And when you read them in the evening, gives you protection until the morning. And these 10 verses are the first 5, Alif Lam Mim ذلك الكتاب لا ريب, and then Ayat al-Kursi, الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. The following 2 verses, لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي, after Ayat al-Kursi. And then the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. There are numerous values also for reciting Ayat al-Kursi and the Khawatim al-Baqarah. We will probably talk about that at another event. And in giving you the protection that you are in need for, and your family members. To conclude, inshallah, another piece of information that is so helpful, and I primarily encourage the brothers to remember this dua, is Bismillah, tawakkaltu ala Allah, ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم إني أعوذ بك من أن أضل أو أضل أو أذل أو أذل أو أجور أو يجار علي. This is a dua you say when you are exiting from your home. And as the Prophet ﷺ said, Shaitan will be abstaining from your path. Khalas, Shaitan, as you leave in the morning saying this dua, has no power on you the rest of the day. Khalas, he gave up on you. He cannot come across you. And the Prophet ﷺ indicated nothing could be harmful to you the rest of the day. Nothing means that a rocket is launched on you, will be falling next to you, not on you. A protection, from everything that harmful or dangerous might be, attempting to hurt you in that day. And the dua is beautiful and coming from an authentic hadith. So now, with this, intensive exposure of how important it is for us to protect ourselves from Shaitan, our enemy, our only enemy as a human being, and more specifically to the believers who are in their path to Allah Azza wa Jal. Having said that, and now being reminded of how dangerous Shaitan is, and how he is, working on distracting us from all the sources of good. Now, we're about to read Quran, and Quran is a rahmah, and this is the most beautiful ibadah that we can do after Salah, is reading the Quran. And Salah is primarily, Quran, reciting Quran and contemplating and reflecting. So Shaitan would not be content and happy for you to be able to focus in your Salah or in your attempt to recite the Quran. That's why the minute you start, you hold the Quran and one wants to read, all those thoughts come to your mind. Did I forget to lock the car or not? Did I, the sister, did I turn the stove off or not? What I'm gonna be doing tomorrow morning when I go to work, driving, to back from or going to, all these thoughts come to your mind because Shaitan wants to distract you from being able to focus and benefit from this beautiful, ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jalla is called the Quran. So when you say أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم, from the evil temptations of Shaitan, you're aborting and stopping all the evil temptations and distractions from Shaitan from getting into you in your path as you're going to Allah Azza wa Jalla reading the Quran. طيب, أعوذ, we said, I seek refuge. Billahi, by Allah Azza wa Jalla, from the evil temptations of Shaitan. Like, what's Shaitan? Two meanings. Shata means furious. When when someone is angry, super angry, he is sha'it. So when someone, sometimes if someone is too angry, say, just stay away from him right now. Leave him alone until he cools down. So this is who Shaitan is, because of his furiosity and his anger and حقد, jealous and zealous. He khalaq, there's no matter what a human do in life, is there anything more evil than killing 100 souls? Nothing. The person who killed 100 souls repent to Allah Azza wa Jal, and the Malaikat al-Rahmah took care of him. No matter what could be done, until ruh comes to the throat, your chance or the chances for you to repent to Allah Azza wa Jal are open. It's there. Now, Shaitan has no hope. Khalas, this is it. It's done. There's no chance for him to say, okay, I'm gonna repent, or let me reflect or contemplate. It's it. It's over for him. It's done. So Shaitan is so furious. He know 100% his abode is the hellfire, and he vowed already to, because of his zealous and jealous and anger with Adam alayhi salam, to take as many from the children of Adam with him to the hellfire. And that's why he's called shaitan. Or shatana means ba'uda. He's distracted and he's remoted from the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal. So that's why we say أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. And what's rajim? Stoned. Whether because he's been stoned by Ibrahim alayhi salam, or whether he's remoted from the rahmah of Allah Azza wa Jal. All these meanings are applicable in this context. I'm looking at the time and I'm told to stop at half an hour before Salat al-Isha. So I think inshallah we will stop for today here, and inshallah the next halaqah time we will go over the meaning of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'll give you a heads up for a couple of minutes before we conclude this halaqah. And this is what I said again, what we need to be mindful about. I'm sure that many of us know the meanings whether in Arabic or in English, but we need, and maybe we probably have deeper understanding, but we need to put these things into actions. We recite al-Fatiha, as I said, minimum 17 times in every day. This is if we were reading only the fara'id. So what's the point of reading without knowing, without allowing this to penetrate our hearts? By the way, what are some of the names of al-Fatiha? al-Quran or al-Kitab. What's al-Kitab mean? The mother of the book. Meaning to say, the mother is the one who, the origin, the asl, the core. And then we are the furu'a, the children. So al-Kitab means it's the core. And that means that it has everything. It's the core, it's the origin. Yet, it's only 3 lines, 7 verses, not even 1 page. And the rest of the Quran is 604 pages, or 3 pages in this case, if we take the first page away. So this is how important this, surah is. And what else, from the meanings of, surah, the names of Surah Al-Fatiha? Al-Shafiya. What's Al-Shafiya?
Cure.
Recovery, the curer, right? And why is it called Al-Shafiya? Because it has the shifa. Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu used to cure people reciting Al-Fatiha. Yeah, reciting Al-Fatiha. He puts his hand on people's heads and recite Al-Fatiha. After the death of Umar al-Khattab, someone was sick and they want to treat him, so they recited the Fatiha. Nothing changed. The Fatiha is the Fatiha, the same, but the hand who handled, or the heart that contained the Fatiha is different. So there are, and like what one of the doctors have given an example to illustrate this, sometimes you travel abroad and you get sick, so you walk to a nearby store, not to the pharmacy necessarily, you could go to a convenience store and buy antibiotic. This is very common, by the way, outside Canada, even though so you buy an antibiotic for, whatever, money it is, and there are, in the pharmacy next door, an antibiotic for probably 10 times or 100 times the price you would get for the cheap product. This is an antibiotic and this is an antibiotic. What's the difference? Equality. This is useless. It does have no effect on the body, and this is very effective. It's almost guaranteed within the practice of a human being that you will be recovered from this, quality product of medications compared to the, generic stuff that has, no value. So the same thing is to be said about, the Quran in general and the power of Al-Fatiha. So inshallah, as I said, next week, inshallah, or next halaqah, which is going to be in a week after next week, we will be unpacking Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We say this a lot, whether when we recite the Quran, or whether when we eat, or whether when we drive, or as we walk home, Bismillah, by the name of Allah. What does this mean? How should I? What should I keep in mind as I am observing these meanings in my mind? How should it make a difference in my life? What should I be? How from now on? How can from now on Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim change my life literally? It will this is the whole idea of reflecting and contemplating. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla, inshallah, help us and enable us to be able to understand and comprehend. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. I think I'll stop here inshallah. Yes, I know, khalas. We'll stop here inshallah so we can inshallah go further.